Emma Larkin, good to see you. Happy that you are here. Denise, good to see you. Good to see everybody on all the platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Good to see everybody. Glad that you're here this Wedding Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about making choices. I've had a few days that have been pretty fun, and so I want to share with you some of my experiences as we're preparing for the wedding. Hey, Cassandra, and want to share with you how it actually impacts our practical lives. So, jumping right into it. So, the last couple of days, we have been making choices, and they're choices that impact the wedding. So, yesterday, we went out and we were choosing flowers. So, we were doing our flower selection and bouquets and corsages and the all the good stuff, the flowers for the table at the reception. Hey, Victor, good to see you. So we're making these choices, and yesterday we were picking out flowers, and then today we went and we actually just got back a few minutes ago, and we were doing the cake testing, cake tasting, and then on Saturday we're going to be doing another tasting for the venue for the reception, and we're going to taste the dinner. So we get a couple tastings done, and that'll be fun. But today it was fun. We were out there going, we go into the bakery, and they have, all the cakes displayed, and all these the models of the cakes, and they're 4-tier high, and they're decorated, and their flowers cascading, and this one has these kind of flowers, and they have all these choices. There's so many choices. They give us about 4 or 5 books filled with cakes, right? All these different types of cake decorations, and the way that you can do this, and the way that you can put this around it, and the color schemes, and there's just a lot. There's a lot of choices. There are a lot of options, and I was sitting there, and I'm just they put probably about 8 different slices of cake in front of us, and another 8 types of filling, and so this is all there, and we're talking through this whole process, and we probably spent a good hour just going through this cake process, trying to figure out how we want the cake to be, right? And so along this process of preparing for this wedding, there have been a lot of choices to be made, and it's something that we have to deal with, and something that we have the opportunity. And I like to say opportunity, because whenever you're getting a chance to make a choice, it's an opportunity for you to impact your life. And so we're making these decisions because it's going to impact the wedding. But the choices that we make in life are choices that impact our life. And so we're planning it out, and we're tasting this, and my bride to be, she's not even a cake person. She doesn't really even like cake. So, that's an interesting part of this process, because she's not really a cake person. So she's tasting the different things, and she's not really wowed by any of it because she doesn't like cake. Me, on the other hand, I do like cake, right? But I'm kind of plain, right? I like the buttercream and just regular white icing, real basic. But downstairs in their bakery, they had strawberry shortcake, and I walk in, and I'm saying, listen, I want a strawberry shortcake for our wedding cake. Which, after we sat, and she was already telling me no, that I couldn't have it because she doesn't even like strawberries. But we sat with the bakery, the gentleman that runs the bakery, and the owner of the bakery, and he's telling us that wouldn't have worked anyway because of the icing and the whipped cream and all that kind of stuff. But it was a fun wish, fun hope. I said, well, look, I'll just come back and get a personal strawberry shortcake. It'll be all good. So we're at this place, and we're going through, and we're making these choices, and everything matters, right? Everything matters. But at the same time, we realize that the moment is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. And when we look at life, sometimes we can have so many choices and things ahead of us, so many options in front of us, that we actually forget that life is supposed to be enjoyable. Life is supposed to be something that it adds to us. Like if every choice that you're making, it feels like there's a heaviness and a weight to it, and it brings you like grief, it's time to check your life. Really. And I thought about how we can overcomplicate the simple, right? There were so many choices. There's so many options. And in life, it's the same thing. So many options. What if I do this? What if I do this? Will it turn out right? And my bride to be, she was thinking like, she was like, well, how, I just want to make the decision so that I know that on that day it's not messed up. And she'll look to me and she'll say, well, you're the creative one. What do you think? And I've been encouraging her the whole time saying, no, go ahead and just make the choice. It'll be all right. Whatever you choose, it'll be fine. It's going to be okay. And sometimes in life, we can get so consumed by what we think the outcome can be, and it may not work out right, that we don't make a choice. That we have all these choices in front of us, but we don't simply choose. But one of the things that happened today, and I was realizing this as we sat there, we're doing this consultation, even though there were so many options available, at a certain point, we just had to decide. See, there were choices. There were lots of options, choices. But at a certain point, you have to decide. And when you decide, that means you're cutting off all the other options. That it's no longer a choice. You're deciding. When you decide, you cut away every other option. And so sometimes in life, you have to get to a point where you simply say, I'm making a decision. I'm cutting away everything else, and I'm just going to go for it. And whatever happens, happens. I was on earlier today, and I made the announcement that in the last couple of days, I've been talking with a business, and they want me to reintroduce my women's training program. And so we've been talking about it and working on it, and we've got to that place where I'm going to relaunch my women's training program. And it's something that had been on my heart, something that I've been praying about, like, God, just really asking God, is this where I'm supposed to be? I had my business before the pandemic, and then I closed it during the pandemic. And there's been a certain kind of void in my life there, because I love serving and watching women's lives develop and watching them become strong physically, emotionally, relationally, with their hopes and their dreams. And so over the last few weeks, some things have been happening. Like, I was at my gym, and I'm working out at this gym, and this woman was there, and I saw her, and she was exercising, she was working out, and she looked like she was about to hurt herself, right? She was trying, she was definitely putting in the effort, but what I saw was what she's doing, she's going to end up hurting herself in the long run. And there were trainers around, and they're not paying attention. And so I walk over to her and I start talking to her. Long story short, I help her. I give her some suggestions. I asked her, could I? And she said yes. And so I start giving her some suggestions and showing her how to do some things. I said, if you do this, it'll help you move forward. And at the end of this conversation, this woman says to me, she said, I thank you. I thank you for coming over to me, because I had my headphones in. But what I was thinking in that moment was, I really wish someone would help me. And she said, and then you came over and then you helped me. And at the end of the conversation, she says, the Lord really used you. Now, that's not a common kind of phrase that someone uses. And because of my prayers and just really asking God about certain direction, because she said, the Lord really used you, it stood out to me. Right. And so I was like, okay, I hear that. The Lord really used you. I'm like, that's not common. All right. I was like, I believe that's for me. And we had talked, and I said, when I see you in the gym next time, I was like, we can talk some more. I'll help you out, whatever. And she wanted to lose weight, get her body strong. She wants to have a baby. So I was like really excited to see her. I've never seen her again since. I saw her that one day. She told me what time she normally comes to the gym, and I haven't seen her since. That same week, a woman that lived across the street from me, she reached out to me. She asked me if I was still training. She's like, do you still have your women's training program? She asked me if I was still training. And I said, sure, I can help you. Boom, boom, boom. So in the last month, I've had all these different interactions that have been happening. And I'm about to get married, and this is all happening. So I'm talking to my bride to be, and I'm like, listen, I believe this is the way we're supposed to go. I believe, God's opening this door. Then I go to the gym, and I'm talking to the guy, and he's like, listen, I know what you did before. He said, and we made all these arrangements. He's like, you can take the space over. You can do this. You can do that. And he opens it up to me. Boom, another opportunity. So confirmation, confirmation. And there are options, there are choices for what you can do in life. But I had to say, you know what? I'm making the choice. See, your dreams and your hopes and your aspirations, they require you. There are lots of things that you can do, but you have to make a decision at some point. If you want to have the relationship that you're dreaming about, if you want to have the experience and love that you hope for, there's a decision that you're going to have to make. You want to change your body, there's a decision that you're going to have to make. And guess what? When you make those decisions, like the cake, like choosing the cake, it should be a decision that brings you joy, because you're choosing, you have all these choices and you're making a decision for your well-being. You're making a decision for your growth. You're saying, I'm cutting off my unbelief. I'm cutting off the doubt. I'm cutting off this humdrum existence that I've been in, and I'm deciding to grow. I'm deciding to go for it. And that's good news. It's something that you get to be excited about when you look at your life and you say, I get to make this choice. And this choice, I'm making a decision for me. Like, you get to make that. And here's there are a couple things that I saw today. There are lots of options, lots of choices, but we had to make a decision. There was only a certain amount of time. Like, as much as he liked being with us, he wasn't staying there all night to be with us. He gave us the options. We looked at the options, but then it became a matter of time. He stepped out of the room. He went downstairs. He said, you all enjoy the cake and enjoy the icing and all that good stuff. Then he steps out. Then he came back. He wanted to know, what did you decide? The time for just talking it over, it was done. So here's another thing. You can't just keep talking. There needs to come a moment where you take action. Like, when you make a decision, you're saying that you're going to take action. And you'll stay in this place of wondering why your love life is not becoming richer, why your body is not changing, why you're never accomplishing the dream or experiencing life to the fullest. You have to make a decision, but then you have to take action. It's like, now. You don't get to just put it off. And that's what I enjoyed about going to the florist yesterday and sitting with the florist. Boom, we needed to make a decision yesterday. Then today we made a decision. And so when we went in, because of yesterday's decision, this was fun. We went in yesterday, we make a decision about flowers. The florist says to us, she says, okay, when you go in for your cake, you have the option. They can decorate the cake with flower frosting, like they can do frosting and make flowers. Or if you want, you can put natural flowers on the cake. So there was some options. Because we went to the florist yesterday, we made that decision. Then it opened up a new opportunity in today, because we got to we have more choices. We can take what we learned in our yesterday decision and apply it today, because we made a decision yesterday. And so your decisions build upon one another. So you get this, when you're wondering how it's all going to play out, don't worry about that. Make your decision today, because today has enough cares of its own. Today has enough for you to deal with. Decide today, and don't worry so much about tomorrow. See, you're trying to figure out how everything is going to work out, but that's not on you. And I shared this last week. It is not your job to grow the whole tree. It's your job to plant the seed. And your decision today is the seed for the tree that will grow in your tomorrow. And so, instead of focusing on, I need to grow this tree. How's it all going to work out? I need to know every detail. Am I going to be safe? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Yes, you count the cost, but then you decide. That's an action. You take an action in faith, and you put faith in and combine it with your works. Yeah, you believe something, you're thinking something, but faith without works, it's dead. But when you take that faith and you say, okay, I'm believing that this is going to, I see it, I have a vision for it. Now I'm going to take action. Now your faith with works, it produces life. And so we made a decision yesterday, flowers, boom. Today we go in, we're thinking about it, and we say, no, we don't want natural flowers. We want frosting flowers. And here's our color scheme because we decided on that. So now we have a color scheme, which now impacts the cake. Oh, do you want this color and that color? Do you want this or do you want that? Because we made a decision beforehand, we got a chance to make a decision today. See, your decisions are building, and we're building the wedding. We're creating it, we're making it. And this is the same thing that happens for your life. It might not be a wedding, but whatever your desire is, whatever that dream is in your life, you get the chance to build it. You have that power. So we have choices. How do we handle choices? Make a decision. We have time, but not an infinite amount of time. Someone once said that opportunities of a lifetime must be captured in the lifetime of the opportunity. Meaning that there are some moments that you just have to seize them. This is a moment. You capture this moment, you seize this moment. And some of you might be looking at something in your life right now and thinking like, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity here. You might be a little afraid and you might be uncertain. Ask yourself, does it align with the vision that you have? And then go for it. Don't be afraid when things start happening quickly. Right? When I'm praying, asking God about direction and moving forward. And then people started showing up. That woman in the gym, she said, the Lord used you. A neighbor sends me a message. Then another person sends something and another person's talking to me. And people just started asking me things. Women started asking me questions pertaining to their health and wellness. And it started happening again. And then I meet someone that says, here's an opportunity. It's the time has been condensed. It started moving very fast. And so don't when your vision starts to happen and it starts to accelerate, that's not the time for you to be afraid. That's the time for you to know that you've been asking for it, you've been praying for it, you've been seeking God for it, and then things start happening. That's God saying, okay, listen, you asked me, here it is. And so here's what I say. Here's how I'm going to encourage you. You be the gas and let God be the brakes. When you've been praying and asking God and asking for direction and asking for guidance, and then you're moving forward and things start happening, that's not the time for you to get afraid and put on the brakes. No. That's the time for you to believe that God is actually answering your prayers and letting you know the direction in which you are to move. And then you get to believe that God is for you and not against you. Here's something that was pretty cool. We went to when we locked in the venue that we are working with, they had in the package already, when you pay for the venue, they say, well, a part of this package is you get to go, you can go with this florist and you can go with this baker and the cake's included. And so they included in the package. And that's just like God. God's like, listen, here's the vision. You have a vision that I've given you, by the way. You have a vision inside of you. But watch this. I'm so in favor of the vision that there's this thing called provision. That's how you know I'm in favor of the vision, because pro means in favor of. Vision means the thing that you see, what you're visualizing, what you're conceptualizing. So you have a vision, but God has provision, meaning I'm in favor of this. So I've included it in the package. When you got the vision, there is provision. And so, but oftentimes we get so afraid because we want to know all the details. When we locked in and we signed the contract for the venue, we hadn't looked at cakes. We hadn't looked at flowers. We hadn't did a tasting. But we signed and said, okay, we have an agreement. We have an agreement now. And see, that's the covenant agreement that we can have with the Lord. Like, okay, God, we're in agreement. I'm in agreement with you. So now, as the vision unfolds, I'm not going to be afraid because I'm in agreement with you. And I believe that you're for me and not against me. And so things start happening in your favor because God is for you, not against you. You've been seeking, you've been asking, you've been praying. You know, in your heart, you want something. You want something greater. You see an answer to a problem. You see a life change. This is not time for you to get afraid. It's time for you to go for it. But the Bible says this day, choose this day who you will serve. Are you going to serve the idols and the other lesser gods? Or are you going to serve the one true God? You have to make a choice because that's everything rests on that decision. Choosing this day, choose today who you are going to serve. When we become afraid of the vision, when we become afraid of the growth, the development, when we become afraid of what it's going to cost in order for us to be healthy, when we become afraid of needing to show up and put forth the effort for our relationships to become strong because we're worried we're going to get rejected and we start worrying, that's not God. That's not God's plan. God's plan is not for you to be worried and concerned and fearful about moving to another level of growth and development. It's not God. When you are seeking to grow and fear sets in and doubt sets in and you become stagnant, that's not God's plan. It's not. Because in God's plan, we are designed to grow. Right in Genesis, it says, be fruitful, that's growth. Multiply, growth. Replenish, growth. Subdue, growth. And have dominion. Every part of why we were made is to move us into a developmental place of growth and reproduction and being able to serve and replenish and build up. Growth, it's all growth. And so when you become afraid, that's contrary. When you're becoming afraid of growth and expansion and learning and greater commitment or greater dedication or whatever it is, when you're in that place and you become afraid, you're working against your true nature. And then you become stuck. See, if we wouldn't have made a decision, I imagine going and we're there and we're in the cake room and we're talking about cake and we're looking at cake and we could have sat there with all the different books, all the different examples, and we could have just been sitting there and talking about how good they look and how pretty they are and how wonderful it would be to have one of these cakes. And if we don't decide, we could have said, you know what? There's so many options. We're not going to pick one. We're not going to decide at all. And we could have got up and we could have left. And it's already paid for. And we could have decided that we're not going to decide, and we could have left. And we, in the whole process from now until the wedding, we could have made the decision to never decide on a cake, and we would not have one. Even though it was already paid for. Think about that. There's an aspect of your life, your dreams, your visions, your goals, your relationships, your health, your wellness, that's already been paid for. There's a price that's been paid for your life. You don't think so? Think about this. How much stuff have you been through to get to this moment right now? Have you been through anything that has brought you to this moment right now? Of course you have. You've been through some obstacles. You've been through some setbacks. You've been through some disappointments. You've been through some hurt. You've been through some pain. You have been through something to make it to this moment. Okay. So this is a fact. You've been through some things. And so since you've been through some things and you're yet here, you're still here, you're still going, you're still alive, you're still breathing. And I'm just going to step out on a limb here and say that you also have a dream. You also have something in your mind that you want. You also have just a glimmer. It might just be a little bit, but you have a glimmer of hope for something greater in your life. So you have paid the price to be here right now in this moment and still have a dream. Think about it. It's not just a dream. It's not just an aspiration. It's not just something you desire. It's something that you've paid for. You bought this moment because you kept on going. You kept breathing. You kept showing up. You didn't take your life. You kept showing up. So the thing that you want, even after someone hurt you, even after someone left you, even after someone has disappointed you, you're still here and you still have a dream. Even after your habits that were less than healthy, you're still here. You still have a dream. You still want to be healthy. You still want your body to be strong. Even after your setbacks, you're still like, I still want a greater connection in my spirit with God. I still want to grow my relationship with God and know God better. You still have that desire, even after everything. So you have bought this moment with your life's choices. Like, you made decisions along the way and you bought this moment. So don't waste it. Don't waste it by saying, I'm not going to decide. Because guess what? The reality is this. When you don't decide, you're still making a decision. You're just making a decision against the desired outcome. See, our desired outcome is to have cake at the wedding. Our desired outcome is to have flowers at the wedding. Our desired outcome is to have food choices at the wedding. But if we go to the tastings and to the flower shop and we don't decide, then what we're saying is we actually are deciding, but we're just deciding against the desired outcome. And that's the reality. So the question is, it's not whether or not you're going to make a decision, because you are. The real question is, are you deciding for your desire or not? That's the truth. Like, there's no getting around it. If you want to move your life forward and towards the vision and dream that you have, then you decide for that. That's what you get to do. That's the opportunity. And if it's your dreams, your idea, your aspiration should be of actionable appeal. Like, it should be so good looking to you that you say, I choose that. I choose this day. I'm making that decision. I'm going to move that way. I'm moving right towards the thing that I desire. And again, we've been talking about this when we talk about patterns. When you start to recognize patterns, you can recognize that the decision that you make and the actions that you take, they lead somewhere. Either they're going to lead to what you desire or what's undesirable. And so when you get that, you can apply it to your health and wellness. Okay, I want to be more fit. I want to be able to walk for 20 minutes at a certain pace. Okay, then are you practicing? Are you putting into action each and every day activities that lead you to that outcome or not? Oh, I want this strong relationship. I want to be respected. I want to be respected. I want to be honored. Okay, great. Fantastic. Are you doing the things and putting yourself in the company of people that respect and honor you? And do you have that as a standard? Because if you're in an environment when people don't respect and honor you, but you stay there, what you're actually saying is, I'm really okay not being respected and honored. So you're deciding against your desire. But when you simplify life, it comes down to making cake choices. What icing do you want? Right? What's the icing that you want? What's the cake that you want? They said, what kind of cake do you want? Okay, we want buttercream. Okay. All right. So what kind of icing do you want? So we laid the foundation. This is the kind of cake we want. Great. What kind of icing do you want? We need an answer. All right, we want this kind of icing on it. Boom. Next, what do you want? What kind of design do you want? Okay, that's the kind of design you want. Okay, what kind of color do you want it to be? What accents do you want? This is what we want. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And so when you start thinking, like, it wasn't the whole cake at once. It was, what kind of cake? Okay. What kind of icing? Okay. What kind of design? Okay. What are the colors, accents? Check. What platter do you want it to be on? What color platter do you want it to be on? Check. See, when we start to simplify, yeah, you have a big vision. Like there's a big wedding being planned, but when it came down to the cake, it was a checklist of things. Let's go step by step. Let's make this easy. Stop overcomplicating your life. Like look at anything you want to achieve and see if you can find steps. Because that's going to move you. At the end of the day, today, right now, we now have a cake, a vision of a cake that went from our minds into the mind of someone else because we answered the questions, what do you want? When was the last time that you answered the question, what do you want? See, here's the reality. I've been here having the farm. You've seen me on social media with the animals and everything. And I had the farm and I enjoyed the animals. But how did I get started? I got started because my daughter asked me, Dad, will you buy me a horse? I said, yes, I'll buy you a horse when you turn 7. She was 5 years old. Dad, will you buy me a horse? Yeah, I'll buy you a horse when you turn 7. I didn't think she was going to really hold on to that, right? She's 5. I'm like 5 years. She's 5 years old. She's going to ask me for a horse that she's going to get when she's 7. 2 years is like a lifetime. I'm like, it's fine. You want to be a vet. I honor that. And she said, okay, will you buy me a horse when you turn 7? But she waited. She waited patiently. She asked me once when she turned 6. And then right before she turned 7, Dad, am I still getting a horse? And me being me, I said, yes. And so I started into the horse world, not off of a desire of my own, but it was her wish. And I was sowing into her life and wanting to support her. And in doing that, I realized, I had to do this every day. This horse thing is every day. I'm feeding it and I need to buy hay. And so I started learning. And so it started growing me because I'm doing this every day. And I said, all right, well, if I'm going to put this much time into it, I'm going to make it something. And I said, this little miniature horse that I bought, well, we're going to turn this into just more. And so I started getting around horse people and I started learning and then I started figuring out how I could use horses and animals to impact people, to encourage them, to empower them, to give them confidence, to help build relationships. And now I'm building educational programs around this. And so this is all starting to happen, but it really wasn't my thing. It wasn't, but I enjoyed it. And so I got to a point lately in the past year when I had to start asking myself, because it does require a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. I said, is this now for you? Or are you doing this, because other people expect it or other people want it? And I had to ask myself the question, what do you want? What do you want? And then I began to answer the question. Oh, I know I want to travel. I want to travel more. I'm on the farm. I want to do more speaking engagements. I want to write books. I want to create curriculum. I want to help train and empower. I have all these notes and outlines and things that I want to build to help see people's lives transformed. And I said, I'm not going to be the greatest horseman. I enjoy them, but really, I don't ride anymore. I just prepare them for other people. So I'm not fully even enjoying the animals. I'm not enjoying the horses the way that I would even like to. So I had to ask myself, what do you like in the movie, The Notebook? That's my favorite part. What do you want? And he's asking her, what do you want? And so I was asking myself, what do you want? And that's the question that I pose to you, because you're going to have a lot of choices to make in life, and then you get to make decisions. But let's start here. What do you want? What do you really want? Not what have other people told you. And this is what I was sharing with my bride to be, because she's used to someone telling her how things are going to go. She'll say, I'm used to someone giving me the script. And I said, not this time. I said, you get to choose. You get to decide what you want. I'm like, so what do you want? Do you want swirls? Do you want twists? Do you want turn? What do you want? Like what? And then she'll say something like, well, if it was me, I would do this. And I would stop her. I say, it is you. You're the one. You get to choose. You get to make the decision. So what do you want? And then she's been working through it. But the same question applies for you. Right? If your life, your experience is the cake, well, what kind of cake do you want? What do you want? And here's something that really caused this to hit home for me lately. There was a conversation, and here was the reality. I'll give you the short version of the conversation. The short version of the conversation it was this. Here's my takeaway. At some point, hey, Sharon, at some point, your life is going to be over. And people will be sad, and people are going to move on. And you're worried about making decisions. And your life every day is getting closer to the end. And it sounds like it's not like warm and fuzzy. I know that. But that's the reality. Like every day we live, we're getting closer to our final day. And yet we won't make a decision because we think what? We have time. But do you really know how much time you have? Like, this is your opportunity. We don't know how much time we have. And the reason that you're not taking action is because you're afraid of what someone might say, if you're going to fail, if it's not going to work out. What if it ends up like it did last time? So you don't talk to the people that you're supposed to talk to. You don't build the business that you're supposed to build. You don't go on the vacation that you're supposed to go on. You don't invest time in your relationships. Why? Because we think we have more time. But you're not guaranteed more time. You're guaranteed this moment because this is the moment that you're in. And so what you get to do is take a big deep breath and make a decision. Either, like, there can be no more excuses. Either you're deciding for your desire, or you get to say to yourself, I'm deciding against my desire. But here's the thing. Just don't lie to yourself. Don't blame anyone else for why things are happening. Don't do that. Take back the power. Reclaim the power of your life. Reclaim the power of living by making a decision and saying that you have the power to decide. This is a foundational truth that I share with women that in the program, that every woman has the power to transform her life. Now, I believe that for all people, but in my training programs, they're women. So I'm saying every woman has the power to transform her life. You have the power to do that, but there's going to be a decision. And so when you make the decision, guess what happens? It opens you up for the adventure. You get to see what happens next. And yeah, you've made mistakes. Yeah, things have gone wrong. I mean, I shut down my whole business because I was uncertain around the pandemic, didn't know what was going to happen. And I've missed this is what I say. I'm like, I missed my girls, right? I missed working with women and seeing that transformation happen. And me, I obviously like doing this. I like being live and teaching and instructing. And there was a part of me that felt like I failed. And as I look back now, what I see is that I learned. I learned now in these years post pandemic, I learned how to maximize social media and use it. And I've met people that I would not have met if I was only inside my box. Right? So now, as we relaunch, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be able to serve there in the box, in the space, but I'm also going to be able to hook up the technology to serve women that are all over, that want to transform their lives, that are saying, along the way, I lost myself, but I want to start over. I want a fresh start in life. I want to be healthy. I want the rich relationships. I want my dreams and aspirations. And we're going to take action. Like, yes, we're going to do the physical part. We're going to move you from dreaming into action. And as you take action for your body to be healthy and healed and strong and whole, you're going to recognize the pattern, and then you're going to be able to use that in other areas of your life. And you as a person will be whole. You'll be strong. But I'm making that decision. And so your hopes and your dreams, your aspirations, your change, your transformation is waiting on your decision. What are you going to do? You get to make this decision and then move, take action. And it's your choice to decide for your desired outcome or decide, I'm actually going to decide for the undesirable outcome. Because the reality is your dreams, your aspirations are what you really want. And the only thing that's stopping you is some level of fear, some level of shame, some level of doubt, because you know what you really want. So my question to you is, what kind of cake do you want? What kind of cake life do you want? Do you want adventure? Okay. You just say it. Say, yes, I want adventure. And then check. Okay. Do you want to travel? Yeah, I want to travel. Okay. Check. Start answering the questions. Ask yourself, do I want to have a business? Yeah, I want a business. Okay. Check. I'm not asking you to go start your business right now. I'm simply asking you, do you want the business? Do you want it? Yes, I want that. Do you want to be married? Yes, I want to be married. Okay, check. So you answer the first question. Do you want to be married? Yes, I want to be married. Okay, check. Then after that, you can ask yourself another question about that. Do you want to be healthy? Yes, I want to be healthy. Okay. Do you want to be strong? Yes, I want to be strong. Do you want to have more muscle, more strength to be able to move and pick things up and move things around? Yeah, I want that. Yeah, okay, great. Do you want less body fat? Yeah, I want less body fat. Okay. And so you start, do you want to run a marathon? No, I don't want to run a marathon. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to run a marathon. Right? So you start asking yourself these questions. And sometimes you'll say, no, I don't want that. Sometimes you'll say, yes, I do. But when you get to this is what I want, it's also hidden within your yes of this is what I want. There is a next question. And then there's an opportunity for you to put into action. If you want, I don't want a marathon, but I do want a 5K. Okay. All right. When do you want the 5K? Oh, I want to run a 5K by the end of summer. Okay. How long do you think it's going to take you to train for it? I think it's going to take at least this, and you just keep asking your questions until you find the one that says, okay, now you start then. So when do you want to start? I want to start now. Okay. See, there's a question. When? When do you want to start? Hey, Tennille, when do you want to start? I want to start now. When do you want to start on the thing that you want? How much longer do you want your desired outcome, your dream? How much longer do you want it to be simply a passing thought on a shelf, in your bookshelf, in a book, written in your journal? How much longer do you want it to be there? Thanks for the hearts and the flowers. So that's my question. Like, how long? How much longer do you think you should wait on the desired outcome of your life? How much longer are you willing to just manage where you are? Here, I just came to my mind, kind of corny, but I'm gonna say it. I fully intend to have my cake and eat it too. Right? That's the reason we went to the flower shop today. To get the cake, to design the cake, because we plan on eating it too. I'm going to have that cake and I'm going to eat it too. This idea that you're wrong for having your cake and eating it too, I don't even like that anymore. It's like, no, if I'm ordering the cake, if it's paid for, it's a part of the package of my life. That's a part of the vision, and there is provision for the cake. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. I don't want to just simply see the cake. I want to have the cake. I want to enjoy the cake. I want to consume the cake. Like, you don't just have your dream. Don't just have this romanticized idea of life and not experience it. What? No, don't do that. I'm all for a dream. So you find your cake and then say, I'm going to have it. I'm going to enjoy it too. I'm going to have my family. I'm going to enjoy it too. I'm going to go on the vacation. I'm going to enjoy it too. I'm going to build my business and I'm going to enjoy it too. For the vision that God has given you, say, God, I want the vision that you have for me and I want to enjoy it too. Maybe you don't want that, but I'm just going to encourage you, because the Bible is so good when it talks about having life and life more abundantly. That's so good. When I realized that God is the giver of vision, and that when God is in favor of the vision, that's provision. That is in favor of the vision. Yeah, I have a vision. God says I have provision. God says I'm the source. God says, Brian, you are the resource. You're the again source. I'm the source. All life comes from me, but life will make it from me unto the earth, because you will be a resource. You will again show forth the source. See, we get to be conduit, that thy kingdom come on the earth as it is in heaven. So what's happening in the heavens makes it to the earth, because we are the again source. We are not, like, who am I to think that, oh, Brian, you came up with an idea to serve and impact people's lives? No. I don't make ideas. God is the giver of life. God is the giver of thought. God is the giver of ideas. God says, listen, Brian, I'm going to give you, here's an assignment for you. I entrust you with it. You get to be the steward of these thoughts. I've put something inside of you that is agitated when you see this. So I'm giving you an assignment. Now you do something about it. And if you go forward, then you will see the provision that I have for you. When David decided, I'm going to kill this giant, guess what he found? He went looking for the stones. See, once he's made the decision, oh, I'm going into the fight. I'm about to do the thing. I'm wiping you out. I don't want to say too many words because I don't want them cutting me off on the internet. But when he was going off the giant, then he went to look for the stones, because he said, all right, I know what I'm about to do. I have a vision. Now I'm looking for provision. What's the provision? He said, I went and gathered up 5 stones. That was provision. God's like, I'm in favor of this. There's some rocks. But the rocks didn't jump out of the river and into his pouch. He went looking for the provision. See, once you decide, once you make the decision, oh, we're going to get married at this place. We drive around and we look at this venue and we look at that venue. Now we make a decision. We're going to get married at this place. Okay, now that we're looking for the answers, then what do we find? Oh, built into this place. Oh, we get the cake. Oh, we get the flowers. Oh, that's built in. Oh, there's going to be a food tasting. Oh, that's built in. Oh, so within this vision, there is provision. Now you're looking. See, once you decide, your eyes are saying, I know what I'm looking at. Now you start to know what you're looking for to help you get there. I know, and it's already started happening. Once I made that announcement today, women's training program, launching it. What started happening on my phone? Women started sending me messages. One woman sent me a message. She said, I saw your video. I immediately began to cry because that's the word. I feel like I've been lost. So here's the confirmation. I took a step in faith and I put it out there and I started to articulate the vision. And someone said, that's exactly where I am. Someone else said, I need the details. Give me the details. I want the deets. Confirmation. There's already people starting to say, I want to be there. I want to be a part of it. One of my friends, she's in North Carolina. She said, I wish I lived closer. I said, don't worry. We got the internet now. We can do this together. We're going to make this happen. See, once you decide, it's so good. Your life just opens up because a decision means that you get to focus. You get to focus. And right now, I would encourage you to think about this. Life seems so hard because you're not focused. There's just too many choices. And I get it because I was in a room with a lot of cake and I'm looking, there were 5 different books. All of them, they were like this thick. All of them had pages and pictures of cake. I'm like, this is a lot of choices. This is overwhelming. If I sit and I just keep looking at all these cakes, this is overwhelming. So what I started to do, I started closing the book and I started putting them aside. I don't need this one. I don't need this one. I don't need this one. You start drawing in. You start drawing in. See, here's the thing. You're afraid to let go. You're afraid to let some people go. You're afraid to let some places go. And what it is doing, it is causing confusion because there's just too much stimuli. You're listening to too many people. You're seeing too many images. You're like, God, how come I can never find the right guy? Because you're scrolling too much and you're seeing too many. It's too many people. You have too many people coming across. They're just too many people are showing up in your feed and you're looking at them and you're looking at this guy and you're looking at this guy. How can you ever be focused? Like, no, slow down. Start letting go. Start unfollowing. Start blocking. Start filtering your atmosphere because when you do that, you're listening to less voices. You're seeing less images. And things become simple. You want to simplify your life? It's spring. Might as well be a good time for spring cleaning. Start cleaning house. Start saying, for where I want to go, I don't need this many images in my mind. For what I desire, I don't need this many coaches in my life. I have my coach. I have my mentor. Right? Find someone you believe in. Move that way. Like, because other than that, what you're doing is you're simply occupying a lot of your time and never getting closer to your desired outcome. So I started closing the books. It's not in book number 5. It's not in. And as I started closing the books, and as we're sitting there, we're closing the books. We close all the books, and my bride-to-be looks up on the top shelf where this cake is, this model cake, and she says, I like that one. I like the designs on that one. I like this. I like that. I like this, the way it's decorated, blah, blah, blah. And she's looking at, she closed all the books, and then she's looking at the one that's been sitting out the whole time. And she said, I like that one. But closing the book, she closed the book. She lifts up her eyes. There it is right there. I like that one. And so sometimes you're missing, and I've missed the obvious answer because we're so distracted. And let me just tell you, from a spiritual sense, getting you off onto the wrong path is not the goal. All you have to do is get distracted, and that's enough. If you can get distracted from taking action on a place of focus, the kingdom has already suffered. Your assignment is already suffering. You're called to do something. You are designed to do something. You have a place of purpose. There's in this life, there's built in for you experiences that would enrich your life while you're enriching the lives of those that are around you. But if you can just become distracted, you won't take focused action, because distraction is the opposite of focus. So you want to see your life change? Decide. What do you want? Are you willing to ask the question, God, what do you want from me? Because I want what you want. And then say, all right, I'm going to focus on that. I'll tell you the truth. There was a point in my life that I was doubting myself as it pertained to training for lots of different reasons. But one of them was, it was an image thing. I felt like training, I didn't think it was glamorous enough. I thought it was kind of like I was looking down on my gift. Really, that's what it was. Even though I had all these ideas and I could formulate systems and I was seeing people's lives change, I started thinking, this is like immature. This is a little bit lowly. And I was thinking down on my gift. The very thing that I tell other people about, like, that don't just yourself. Oh, I'm just a trainer. I was just in myself. I'm just a trainer. And I started looking down on it, and I was saying, I was like, I'm smart. I want people, I don't want to just be a physical person. I want someone I want people to embrace my mind. And so this is how I was in this zone. And I felt like being a trainer just minimized me down to physical. I was like, I don't want to just be seen as physical guy. I was like, no, I have a mind, right? And what I've come to realize over the past few years is that I have the ability to put in place systems that change people's lives. Like it changes someone's life, that a woman can show up and she could say, I want to lose 100 pounds, or I want to find myself again. And then I put into place systems and structure, and we use tools to exercise and weights and programs. And then all of a sudden this person's life is changing. Well, it wasn't about, the physical was used, but it was deeper than that. This was transformational for someone's life. I had to realize that I was missing out on minimizing my treasure and my gift because I was thinking that it wasn't enough. And so before we go, I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you that the thing that you think is so minimal might be so small. It makes a huge difference when it's in the right place. I was talking to the gentleman today, and I will shut it down. But I was talking to the gentleman today, and that's right, unconditional positive regard. I was talking to the gentleman today that owned the business, and I was asking him about his business. And I said, are you a part of the family? And he said, yes. He said, I'm fourth generation. I was like, wow, you're fourth generation. He said, yep. He said, and he started, I said, well, tell me a little bit about your story. Tell me about your business. I'm like, we're spending money here. I want to know. And so he starts telling me about my great grandmother. She started in this building, and it was a one room. She was in one room, and she didn't even have a stove, and she would go somewhere else to cook and bring cakes back here, and she would decorate them. And he said, and then we grew, and then we knocked out this, and we put in some more ovens. And so he's telling me the whole story. And I tell you this because it ties right back into, don't just yourself. I'm just this. Because he could easily have said, we just make cakes. Think about that. He didn't say like, I'm fourth generation doctor. I'm in the operating room every day. No. I'm fourth generation bakery. We have a bakery and an ice cream shop. I'm fourth generation in the bakery. He didn't say he was saving lives, but guess what he was doing in his bakery with his family members, with his brother? He's like, nobody ever sees my brother. My brother shows up at 2:30 in the morning, and my brother is the one doing cakes and decorations. He said, I do this side of the business and blah, blah, blah. But what they're saying is they're not just a bakery. He started telling me how they do hundreds and hundreds of cakes for all kinds of different events. And here we are, we're sitting there in their room, in their space, and we're planning for a moment that is a big moment in our lives. They're not just a bakery. They're part of a celebratory moment. They're part of making a memory. And so when you just, I'm just this, when you just yourself, then what happens is you miss the power of your gift. And so today, I just want to encourage you to embrace the power of your gift. If you have a bakery, then guess what? Somebody needs your cakes. Somebody needs you to show up. So now I ask the question, what do you want? You answer the question. Answer the question, what do you want? And then focus toward that desired outcome. Make decisions that go towards that desired outcome, because you can have your cake and eat it too. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to be here with each and every person, people that are here live, those that are part of Team Replay. Thank you for everyone that's here. Thank you for everyone that left comments. Thank you for all the hearts and the crowns and all the gifts that were given. Thank you for this opportunity to share this message. And I pray that it was encouraging, that our story about cake selection could be something that sticks in the mind of those that hear it, and that they make the choice. They make the decision for the desire, that the vision that they have within them, that they see it as being worth it. That what the gift that is within them is worth it. The relationship, ideas, and dreams that are within them, it's worth it. I pray that someone would say, I decide to take action for the dream and desire that's in my heart. And I pray that as they go, they would begin to look for and seek out the provision that announces that you are with them, that you are for them and not against them. That where there has been doubt, I pray that there would be an abundance of hope, that there would be a re-energizing of their spirits, that they are ready and willing to commit towards that desire, that they will say yes to the assignment of their life, and they would begin to show up. And if they're already showing up, that they would show up on the next level that they're being called to, that they would grow, that they would expand, that they won't let fear and doubt keep them from rising in love with you, their purpose, and those that they are meant to serve. So I pray that we would go to the next level, that they would take this thought, that they could have the cake of their experience and eat it too. that you want us whole and complete is such a great promise, such a great gift. And we're appreciative, so much so that we're taking action to fulfill your vision for us in the earth. That we say yes to your will, your way, and we want to be in agreement with you. And so we say yes to the vision that you've placed within us, to the people we're called to serve. And we know that if we plant the seed, you are the one that grows the tree. So we thank you in advance for the growth from these moments, the testimonies that will happen, the life-changing experiences, the development. We thank you that someone tonight will say yes, and it's going to be good for them. And so because we believe we have been in alignment with your word and your will, we thank you in advance, anticipating the goodness, the fruit of these moments. So we ask blessings on each one as we go our separate ways, but not from your presence. Keep us connected in love. And we thank you in advance. Amen. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Always good to be with you on these Wedding Wednesdays. Now it's on you. All right. Focus and go. Make your decision. Ask yourself the question, what do I want? What do you want? Decide and go. I love you much. I'm B.A. Shepherd, 2 P's, A-R-D, reminding you to be a shepherd. The world has enough sheep. See ya.